Welcome to Montana's Commercial Real Estate Podcast. I'm Julian.Scurci here with my colleague Daniel.Miller at SVN Pure West, Montana's only commercial real estate firm that possesses both local knowledge and a national network. We decided to build this podcast because we both believe there is a tremendous opportunity in Montana, and we're surprised that there was not a show that interviewed business leaders, policymakers, and regional experts. This show seeks to be an exploration of the state of Montana's real estate market, business environment, and serve as a learning opportunity for us, the guests, and the audience.
Daniel, good day. Happy Friday. Great to see you. It's a pleasure to be on the inaugural number one podcast in Montana commercial real estate. It's great to spend time with you. I'm really looking forward to being on this journey with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Our very first podcast, it's going to be a very candid, no bullshit breakdown of what's really happening in Montana, and get to know each other, get to know the state, and hopefully get to know a bunch of other people throughout the United States, and just talk about the real talk in Montana.
I love it. And I think what I really enjoy about this idea and going on this podcast innovation with you is, we're both passionate about real estate. We both come at real estate from our own unique experiences and backgrounds. And also we really enjoy Montana, and we're really excited to do more business and commercial real estate in Montana. And we really like our team at SVN Pure West. And I think there's just a lot of opportunity to learn about the state that we're doing business in, share our knowledge and, our curiosity with an audience of like-minded real estate investors, brokers, lenders, business owners. And I'm just excited to see where all this goes.
Absolutely. It's definitely taking it out the deep water and seeing how it works. See if you can sink or swim. So I'm excited about that. So tell me something about yourself. I know you were raised on the East Coast of the United States. You are now on the West Coast of the United States. Tell me, take me down a quick little journey of how that move, that transition, took place and how it led you into commercial real estate.
Yeah, I wish thank you. That's such a great question. I wish I told you I had some master plan, or it probably looks, my journey looks more logical in retrospect. But the truth is, I kept moving west from the East Coast for, reasons of school, the heart, or work. Eventually met a California girl, and I have a California wife and California kids. So that's how that all happened. But yeah, I grew up in northern New Jersey. I went to school in New York. I love my East Coast brethren. I miss my sarcasm, and I miss some of the food samplings, whether it's bagels or good pizza. But I've been fortunate to live in a number of different states. And how I got into real estate, I'm a ski nut. So I have a younger sister I'm close with. Her and her now husband were going to grad school in Colorado, and they were skiing a lot. And they said, Julian, why don't you go to grad school in Colorado and we could all ski together? So that's how I ended up in business school in Colorado. And the truth is I was in business school during the last real estate bubble, and that's where they were handing out all the jobs. So I was like, oh, that seems like a good place to get a job. So
you get a job. Like,
yeah,
Oprah.
Exactly. It was, if you had a pulse in the early 2000s in business school, you could get hired in real estate. That's the truth. So I got lucky in that sense. I worked, I started my career about 20 years ago. The interesting thing about Colorado is a lot of the REIT industry for tax laws is headquartered there. So I was fortunate to work at Prologis, the large industrial REIT. And I ended up really enjoying it. I'm a real estate finance nerd. I really got to learn industrial market really well from some of the best people. I was a great training ground. I also had a front row seat to the end of the world for during the financial crisis. We were partnering with a firm you might have heard of called Lehman Brothers. That didn't work out too great. But it was a great early in career to recognize, how to invest in real estate properly, how the dangers of leverage, recognizing, how to, really be a value investor. Also to, understand that asset prices can be cyclical and go up and down. So these were good, important lessons to learn early in my career, particularly on someone else's dime of a corporation. And then I was fortunate to, learn a lot about distressed investing, opportunistic investing coming out of the financial crisis, and really learn about a lot of different commercial product types through, all my work in that, post GFC era. And really, that's how I've spent my career. I've spent my career as a principal investor and, either on the acquisitions, asset management side at private equity funds, and then doing brokerage work, really helping friends, business owners, investors redeploy capital that they've maybe made somewhere else into real estate, and really try to, treat real estate as an investment class. So that's been my fun journey, and it's, taken me, westward. But and now it's at the point where I'm like, where are the states that I want to, do business in? Where are the places that I really believe in long-term are going to, are in a growth cycle? And Montana is definitely one of those places.
Awesome. So I gotta ask you the controversial question. You grew up on the East Coast, you live in the West Coast, you've visited many places across the United States and probably spent some time in those. Who's got the best pizza?
Oh, I'm not, for the record, as a big Italian guy, I'm not, some snob when it comes to food. I'm like, I love food in general, but I do have my very strong opinions about pizza. So, I absolutely squarely am in the camp that, you have to have a classic New York slice style pizza. That's the only good. There's
wait, let me pause you real quick. You froze right when you said absolutely, like right when you gave the answer, the podcast froze. So let's start real quick from that, and then we can edit that out because it just froze and didn't hear it.
So yeah, I have a very strong opinion about pizza. And it's, you have to have New York slice pizza. That's the classic pizza in my mind. Now I'm willing to admit that there are other kinds of pizza. So you can have like Napolitana style pizza. That's fine. You could have, I'll even like begrudgingly say Cleveland or Chicago have something that's similar to pizza, but it's not, it's a lot of dough. So I don't want to offend, all the Midwestern part of the country, but it's just different. And this is like the one thing I find extremely offensive, and it happens mostly on the West Coast. You cannot put pineapple on pizza. Like, that's fucking disgusting. Like, that is, I'm sorry. That's like borderline. I don't know if it's up there with like racism or just like, absolute just, hatred of animals, but like, it is like truly something that's very offensive. Yeah. You can't do that. Yeah.
I agree. It's, I mean, there are people out there that love it, and God bless you. Like, if you like it, you like it, but that's, as I would say in my family, that's malarkey when you put pineapple on pizza.
Malarkey. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like to think I'm a tolerant, open-minded person, but people who have like pineapple on pizza, it's like immediately, it's like, I'm not sure about you. I'm not sure if like we can be friends.
I get it. I get it. Yeah, I agree.
What about you? What are your favorite foods, or your favorite food? I guess, red lines for food.
Oh, red lines for food. That's a great question. I have a lot of them. I have a very specific diet that I eat, so I'm not a big vegetable person. I think it goes back of being little, and beans or vegetables are put in front of you on the table, and you can't leave and go to bed until it's done. So it's like you have to choke it down. I was never a big vegetable person, not a big fruit person, but if we're circling back to pizza, I'm from Chicago, so Chicago pizza. Chicago pizza isn't the deep dish, the thick pizza like everyone says it. Chicago pizza is very thin cracker crust, well done. The toppings go under the cheese, not on top of the cheese, and it's just minimal crust, like square cut. So that's what I love. That's my favorite. However, my second favorite pizza I've ever had was from Regina's in the North End in Brooklyn.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry, my apologies, not Brooklyn, Boston. Regina's North End in Boston. It's a very New York style pizza, and it was, I mean, I was almost on the floor after I had a piece of the pizza, so it was amazing. But you and I share the common knowledge, or the common thought of no fruit on pizza. Fruit doesn't go on pizza.
Yeah, malarkey, as you put it. I mean, it's just chaos.
Yeah.
And again, I respect the Chicago or the Cleveland style. I want to go to Regina's place with you. We need to do a Boston trip at some point when we go to SVN corporate headquarters. That will be a lot of fun, because I will happily go on a pizza journey with you.
Absolutely. 100%.
So Daniel, tell me more about your background, because I think the audience would appreciate. You have a very unique background. I'm sure there's a great story here about how you journeyed really as a second career into real estate, and also how you've worked in different parts of the country. And I'd love to, I think you bring a unique perspective to the business because you've had success in other businesses, and you've had leadership roles in another career. And you've really, taken this entrepreneurial journey on real estate. And I just love to learn more about that. What prompted it, and also, how you got here.
Okay. Yeah. So, fresh out of high school, which is up in Chicago. It's actually a suburb of Chicago. I grew up about an hour and a half outside of Chicago. So I say Chicago because if I tell you I'm from Wakanda, Illinois, people will be like, oh, like the Black Panther, the TV, or the movie, the Black Panther, Wakanda. No. So I say Chicago just to minimize confusion. And fresh out of high school, got in the fire department, worked the fire department for a number of years up there, vacationed down to Southwest Florida my whole life. And I always said, when I retire, I want to live in Southwest Florida. I love going down there. And at about 27 years old, so I was 9 years in the fire department, I decided, well, let me apply for some fire departments down Southwest Florida. Applied, got hired, moved down here, worked for Fort Myers Beach Fire Department for another 16 years. So I did a whole 25 years in the fire department, retired as a captain. Next to that, I took vacation days from the fire department. I was a contractor for the Department of Defense, and I traveled the United States to go on a bunch of different joint bases, Army, any type of military base pretty much we traveled to. We taught search and extraction to the military, which is a bomb comes in or something happens, there's an explosion, buildings fall down. We teach the military how to go into those buildings and extract victims from those buildings. So I got to learn and meet a lot of different techniques from people from all the United States, and meet a bunch of great personnel. I was coming to the end of my career, and I knew I was 43 at the time, 42, 43 at the time. I was like, I want to retire. I want to do something. I want to challenge myself in a new career. I want to feel like, in a sense, I'm the dumbest guy in the room. That's why I want to go into a new career that I'm the dumbest person in the room, so I can start learning a lot and develop myself even further than what I did. So I figured when I retire with my retirement, I want to invest my retirement in purchasing commercial real estate as the next chapter of my life. How do I do that? So I was brainstorming, how do you learn how to do that? You learn how to sell commercial real estate. Now you know what to look for, you know how to pencil all these figures, these numbers out. So that was my segue into getting into commercial real estate investing. Started doing it. I've been in it for some time now, and I realized that I really enjoy helping. I like helping people. So I really enjoy helping people work on their portfolios and take a property and run numbers for them and see where they're lacking on their investment and how we can help them out and improve their investment and their portfolio. So, and try and meet their goals. So that's how I got into real estate. I'm into selling real estate. I'm here in Southwest Florida. I've been vacationing to Montana for a long time, and I love it in Montana. So I decided to expand my brokerage out to Montana. So now I focus on the western part of Montana and the southern part of Montana. Pretty much where all the population is, just because that's what I'm familiar with. So that's me in a nutshell. That's what brought me here. That's what brought me to this podcast. It brought me to knowing you. And
yeah, love it. In your so I find it so fascinating. Another friend who's also a firefighter, and I think it's really interesting for the ability to have a second career at a relatively young age after doing something that's quite physically grueling and with a lot of courage and bravery. What do you feel are some of the lessons you learned in your your fire department career that you've translated into your real estate career?
The biggest thing, and I translate this not into my real estate career, but into my personal life, is when things start going awry, things start going down the wrong path. having a background of, life or death. I don't mean to make it sound that dramatic, but having a background of life or death where things, seconds matter in the brokerage world and just in my normal everyday life, when things go bad, it's not that bad. Like, things could be worse. There's worse things happening out there in the world to people. So just take a breath, pump the brakes, do some box breathing or whatever you do to calm yourself down, and come back and circle back to the issue at hand and figure it out. It's not the end of the world. It really isn't. For some people, there are some things that are the end of the world, but what we do, real estate investing, it's not the end of the world. Just slow down.
I love that. I think I have 9-year-old twins, and as a parent and a father, I think about this a lot. Is you can never really control what happens to you in life, but you can always choose your reaction to it. You can always choose your attitude. So that what you just said there really resonates with me. Like, because this is, at the end of the day, it's good to be passionate about your career. It's good to be passionate about your craft. But this is not life or death. We need to put this all in perspective. It's real estate, it's land, it's buildings, it's cash flow, it is wealth. It's, all those things are important, but it's, you got to put things in perspective. So I really like how you frame that.
Right. Yeah. I appreciate that. There's a motivational speaker. He's a retired professional baseball player. He lives out in California somewhere. And I apologize, I can't remember his name right now, but he has a great quote. He says, "Life doesn't happen to you, it happens for you." And as long as you remember that, however bad it is, it's going to be a lesson, and you're going to learn from it, and you're going to come out better than you were before you went into the situation. So people need to remember that and just slow down a little bit.
Yeah. And never give up too, right? You can always, if you never give up, you can always, and you stay in the game, you can always, be with a victim mentality, you can always be, make your own destiny. I really believe that.
You would think I'm Italian with how much I talk with my hands, but I'm not. Pretty much all German, but I talk with my hands a lot. So you think I'm Italian, I'm cooking pizzas over in New York, but I'm not.
I appreciate that. Some of my friends joke with me that it's like, Julian, if we tied your hands behind your back, would you be able to talk? And maybe Julian, maybe I need to talk less anyway. So that's totally fair.
Right. That's awesome. Yeah. So Julian, tell me what brings Montana onto your radar?
Yeah, great question. So I gotta give my younger sister a shout out to my younger sister, Vanessa. She's the much cooler member of my family. It's embarrassing to look up to your younger sister, but she's smarter. She's a better athlete. She's just an all around great person. So I've always been her biggest champion. But her and her husband really galvanized my exposure to Montana. They live in Great Falls, and my brother-in-law is in law enforcement. He's in the legal world as a prosecutor, and he got transferred to Montana, and that's how we lived in Colorado for a number of years. My sister, her husband, myself. So we all had a love for the Rocky Mountain West. And we had exposure, all of us loving to ski, being into the outdoors, camping, hiking, climbing. So we had experienced Montana before, but, really with my sister living in Great Falls for about 5 years now, it's been a great way to spend time out in Montana, particularly in a part of the state that I had not been as familiar with. I'd been more spending time in the Bozeman, Billings area. But that was, it's been really nice to see my sister build a community.
You broke up right at, "I've been really spending time." So rewind to that. I don't know what's going on with the glitching here.
Yeah. Hopefully maybe it comes through or not.
Yeah.
So it's been nice with my sister now living in that part of the state of Great Falls, to really experience a different part of the state that I had not been spending as much time in. I'd been more in the Bozeman or Missoula and Billings areas where I've had familiarity with Montana. But it's nice to see my sister really build a community in a different part of the state. We all have a love for the outdoors. So, that area of the, really where Lewis and Clark did a lot of their, discovering and mapping through the river system of the north and northwestern United States. It's such a gateway, and particularly the gateway to Glacier National Park. We live in a big, beautiful country. There's so many special parts about America, but to see, I think just how rugged and untamed part of Montana is, really a lot of Montana. That's what, really I get joy in nature. And it's just nice to see, other people discovering that, and other people recognizing, I think from a real estate and business perspective, how much opportunity there is in a state that's, early in some of its growth cycle, which I get excited about, as a real estate nerd, seeing demographic trends, seeing businesses and people move to states, and, having, positive policymakers create an environment where that's, successful for growth. I think there's going to be a lot of that in Montana, and it's, I'm excited to do business there for years to come.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. I agree. There is I feel without bringing and trying to put too much focus on people, everyone moving to Montana, I think it's a great untapped resource that people need to go and visit and enjoy the scenery, and pretty much, what was made for us here on Earth. Like it is. The first time I went out there was a ski trip. I think I was a senior in high school, so in 1995. And I got off the plane and flew into Helena, Montana, went skiing at Big Sky, Great Divide, Bridger Bowl, and just driving around, I was like, what is this place? Oh my gosh. Like I was beside myself, coming from the Midwest, seeing stuff like that. It was just, and prior to that, I've been to Vail skiing many times, Breckenridge, Beaver Creek. And when I hit Montana, I was like, wow, oh my gosh, it's just beautiful out here.
Yeah. And I mean, I have a soft spot for Colorado. Having lived in Denver for about 7 years. No one should feel bad for Julian. I've skied pretty much every place in North America that's worth skiing. If I never ski another day in my life, I've had a good run. But with all that, I think Montana is just like it's at another level in terms of the, just how awe-inspiring nature is. And I'm not here to besmirch, Colorado or Utah, because I have love for those places as well. But it's, it just isn't, it's a next level of ruggedness, and just in beauty. And I think, you see that with the ethos of the people in the population center. And I think there's a lot of people there for the right reasons who are moving there. And I appreciate that part of, how the state's growing.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's wonderful to see that actually more and more people. And when I go out there, I spend a lot of time out there. I come back and I start talking to people. People always ask you, where's your favorite vacation? And I'll talk to them. Oh, I've been to this part of Montana. Everyone I know is, oh, I've been there before. So it's a great mecca for people to go and visit and just take in some of the experience and some of the culture that's out there. So, switching gears, I need to ask you a fun fact question, or a fun question about yourself. What are you reading or listening to or watching that you're enjoying at the moment?
Oh, great question. Yeah, so I'm full disclosure, I'm nerdy, so I just love absorbing knowledge. I actually listen to a lot of podcasts. There's one that I really enjoy called Macro Voices. It mostly deals with macroeconomic issues. Shout out to Eric Townsend. I think he does a great job. So it really, I think, takes fairly esoteric subject matter and makes it accessible. I also I read a lot of history and nonfiction, and I actually a real estate book that I've really enjoyed recently called Towers of Debt. It's about the rise and fall and somewhat of a comeback again of the Reichman family. They're actually a Canadian real estate family, and they were the developers of Canary Wharf in London. And they were at one point one of the largest New York office owners. It's a really well-written, almost a style of investigative journalism. But I think I'm definitely a believer of like kind of the great man theory of history, where there's, history is about people and their choices. And what I like about this book is, this really interesting family, completely self-made, amazing immigrant story. But it's a story of the perils of debt. They got way over their skis with debt, and they had the whole vision right for London and for Canary Wharf, but they were imprudent with their use of leverage and the risks they took. and they got, it really almost broke them. But I highly encourage anyone to read the book who's interested in real estate or business, or just, really great, self-made founder stories. It's just, and also it's it takes kind of a pretty sweeping backdrop across Canada, the US, England, real estate markets, from I would say about the 1970s into the early 2000s. So it's just also like an interesting backdrop from that era of our, larger industry. That's been really good. And then my wife and I, we just finished watching, talking about back to food. I feel like this can become a food podcast, but we like the show, The Bear. It's a show it's about a chef. It's really well acted and well written. It's poignant too. There's some good character development, but it's a lot of great. It's about the struggles of a restaurateur and working in a restaurant. I worked in restaurants all through high school and college, so I have a soft spot for the service industry and realizing how hard and difficult that world is, and the friends you make through it. And this show does a really good job of capturing, the ups and downs of that world.
Awesome. Is that a movie? Is that with Bradley Cooper?
I feel like there's one. I'll be first to admit, I'm not great about all the names of some of the actors and all the movies that you're never going to get me on winning a pop trivia contest for that kind of stuff for celebrities. But I want to say he did a movie called Chef that was quite good too, where it's a similar kind of concept, but this is a TV show. It's on Hulu. I think it's in its third season, but it's very good. I'd recommend it. It's and a lot of you. Again, I'm not the best person to ask about this, but it's a lot of character actors that you're like, oh, I've seen that person before. Like, where have I seen them? And you realize they've been like really prolific careers, but they wouldn't be household names. But it's just really well acted.
Good. Yeah, I'd have to take a look at it and see how it is.
Yeah,
for sure.
Don't watch it on an empty stomach. It'll make you very hungry. So it's that'd be my one piece of advice.
Good advice. I like it. It.
What about yourself? What are you enjoying right now?
I do a lot of reading. In my house, I actually have a reading room. I'm kind of a book nerd. Don't look it, but I have a lot of books in my reading room. It's all pretty much business, real estate, self-help type books, personal growth type books. That's what I really enjoy. I try and read every night. I go lay in bed and I read for half hour, 45 minutes, and then turn the light off. The current book I'm reading is the Book of Five Rings. It's an interpretation of Miyamoto Musashi's book on strategy. He's Japan's and they took his book on strategy and interpreted it, and it pretty much, a lot of it talks about war, but how to perfect different techniques and bring it over into your everyday life, and not being hostile towards anybody in that manner, but how to prepare for everything in everyday life. And it's a really good read. It's not a long book at all. It's probably 110, 120 pages long, but that's a really good one. I just finished reading Simon Sinek. I really like a lot. I love watching him speak. The way he talks is very calming and soothing. I just reread his book, Start With Why, which is a great question to ask yourself. And when you're going into any situation, is ask yourself why. And you want to ask yourself why 5 times. You'll get to the answer after you ask yourself why 5 times. So that's another great book. So that's my guilty pleasure, is just reading self-improvement, self-help type books.
I love it. That's great. That's wonderful. And I like the routine. I mean, that's all I feel like I've also I've recently gone back to trying to read more physical books. I was downloading a lot on an iPad or a Kindle, and I've just realized, I missed the feel of actually holding a book. And it's been nice to, I made an effort this summer to do a mix of both fiction and nonfiction, because I know my biases are more towards, nonfiction, history, business books. But it's been, fun to reread some of the classics, particularly with my children, trying to get them, make sure they're doing their summer reading. But, it's what are some of the Legends of Narnia, or, some, the Lord of the Ring type books, even Harry Potter, that, can get them, discover some of these worlds, and, have a love of reading that, I think you and I both share. But it's great. Those are great recommendations.
Yeah, absolutely. Those are awesome. I do have to admit, for those out there that are true book nerds and lovers, that I am a page folder to mark my page. So get off my back. It's what I do.
No judgment. No judgment here. That's fine. It's I'm not going to report you to the librarian police of
There's
totally
people out there in the ether that might yell at me for it, but that's one of my flaws. Sorry. I turn the corner of the page to mark my spot. That's what I do.
Daniel, I feel like we're going to hopefully capture a wide audience with this podcast, and, hopefully it's a self-selected audience, but people of all types. We welcome anyone to listen to our pod. But if people are going to get offended about turning book pages, maybe that's just the listeners we don't want, right?
Right. Yeah. So, well, as we draw this, very first episode down, it's, I apologize to listeners out there, the watchers, kind of stumble over some things as our first episode, but as we draw it to a close, I have a maybe little known fact. It's something new to me, and I've been going to Montana a lot, but I have an obscure fact about Montana. It is the only place in the United States that has a triple divide. So normally there's the continental divide, where if it's on the west side of the continental divide, the water drains off to the Pacific. If it's on the east side, it drains off to the Atlantic. There's a place in Glacier Park called Triple Divide Peak, where it's actually 3 different drainage systems. So one goes to the Pacific, one goes to the Atlantic, and if it's off the north end, it actually drains up to the Saskatchewan River and goes up to Hudson Bay. So it's one of the only places in the United States that actually has that, and I think that's really cool. And someday I hope to visit that spot.
That's amazing. Thank you, first of all, for teaching me something new and teaching me something new about Montana. That's a great fact. I love that.
Yeah. So it looks beautiful.
Wow. Here's a question I thought about. Maybe it's something we can keep exploring together. What is your favorite new place that you visited in Montana, or that place that you've been to, or that is on your list that you're looking forward to discovering?
I mean, if I'm going to be candid, everywhere I go for the first time in Montana is my favorite place. It's just everything about Montana I love. First and foremost is Glacier National Park. People have to go see Glacier National Park. It's when people talk about God's country, it's God's country. It's amazing out there. But I think some of the lesser known places I've been to is Montana is home to a ton of ghost towns.
Yeah.
And if you find some ghost towns to go visit them, actually the very first capital in Montana, I think maybe even before the state was formed, is now a ghost town. You can actually go and visit it. So ghost towns, I think, are really cool because I love history. I love seeing, when you go to those towns, you can see the tools that people used and how they lived. And I love experiencing that and opening my mind to how difficult things were at a time, and how when you experience that, you really learn how not to take for granted, our cell phones are, and all that stuff. So
yep.
I really like visiting the ghost towns a lot. I'm not a ghost person. I don't go and chase ghosts. I don't watch those ghost TV shows, but I just mean like an abandoned town. It's really cool to see that stuff.
Yeah, no, that's great. I love that. My recommendation, I went this past winter with my sister and her family and my family, is a Showdown Ski Resort, which is probably, maybe one of the, I feel like, the local gems. It's in the more central Montana. It's in the Little Belt mountain range, which, I think is, perhaps for folks who are visiting Montana to go skiing, and, they've been to Big Sky, they've been to Whitefish, but they, have not necessarily checked out some of the smaller mountains. This is just a great family-owned ski resort that, it only has, maybe half a dozen runs, but it just gets pounded with snow. And it's just a beautiful drive. If you drove from Bozeman or you drove from Great Falls, it's a really wonderful way to see a part of the state maybe that a lot of visitors have not checked out yet.
Those are my favorite ski resorts out there, are the ones that have maybe 2 or 3 lifts and a dozen runs, and just, you're not going to see people for a half hour. You just go off hiking in the woods and just start skiing. And then eventually you come back to chairlift and or a gondola and you get back up. So I love places like that.
Yeah, that's awesome. I look forward to, both of us being out in Montana together, and visiting some of these places together, and, with some of our colleagues, but also to, keep, meeting good people from around the state, business owners, residents, folks who are investing there. I think our goal of this podcast is to, not only satisfy our own curiosities about Montana, but also to, meet people who, or in different industries, in different businesses, hear their stories about why they love Montana, why they love doing work there, why they love living there. But I look forward to going on this podcast journey with you.
Absolutely. Same as well. So I guess, we'd probably wrap up our very first podcast. If people are out there, they want to hit follow, they want to subscribe, do whatever they got to do, follow along. If they have a deal or questions they want us to talk about, send us a line and we'll be happy to talk with them and talk things over.
Yeah, absolutely. You can find, both Daniel and I, Julian.Scurci on LinkedIn, and Daniel.Miller on LinkedIn, also on the SVN Pure West Montana website. We'll put some more information on how to contact us in the show notes. But we welcome ideas and suggestions. We want this to be a listener-driven program. And we look forward to being in your ears with some frequency. We'll try to get 2 episodes out a month, and hopefully you'll hold us to it. But we look forward to going on this journey with all of you.
Absolutely. All right, Julian, I appreciate it.
Yeah, likewise, Daniel. Have a great day. Be well.
See you guys.
This show is for information and educational purposes only. It is not a solicitation to buy or sell real estate, securities, or any other investment. The views reflected in this show are solely those of the hosts and guests and do not necessarily reflect the views of SVN Pure West, SVN Inc., or any other business or organization mentioned. If you'd like to contact the show's hosts, you can do so by email at Julian.Scurci@svn.com and Daniel.Miller@svn.com, or by visiting svnpurewestcre.com.